So look, we got Zoom class meeting at 10, which is about 2.5 hours from now. That's 10 a.m. Central. And we're going to get into, I'm going to talk about the advantages of the rising interest rates and how that opens up new opportunities, and as does inflation. So it's going to be fun. I mean, I don't like it. The last video I made, I was talking about how, uh, you know, rising interest rates and inflation, I mean, those are just absolute killers on people with fixed income, meaning non-investors, people that don't have a little side hustle or a little money working for them on the side. It's the worst. And it's important that if you fall into that class, really you got to start. You got to get something working for you on the side. You got to start, call it a side hustle, whatever you want to call it. I've always had something going. I've been an investor for 41 years now, and it's those investments, even going back to the very first one at 19, that have made me extremely comfortable today, right? And why I don't fear this stuff is because I've seen these things up and down before. This is actually one of the worst times I've seen. We've had a lot of number one worst things in the last 10 years. But but there was others before that. Interest rates were 14%. Maybe even a little bit higher than that. Uh, you know, just before I got into real estate, they were coming down. They're probably 12. When I started in 19, and I owner financed many properties for people at 10%. I had some owner finance for me the same, and that was the norm. Oh, hey Barry, good to see you. Haven't seen your name in a long time. But man, listen, there's always an advantage. There's always an advantage to anything, any change, really, whether good or bad, because it's all this stuff that people do, how they react in changing markets that open up opportunities uh, for those that recognize. Hey, good morning, Delta. Uh, so I'm really excited just about this year, what's coming. Of course, a lot of it is because I'm prepared. And but main thing is right now. Listen, if some of you are kind of tight, listen, start eating eggs to save money. Eggs are cheap and they're great protein. Do what you can to cut your overhead. Uh, inflation costs everybody, right? Everything is more expensive. It's going to be more expensive to get by this year. All things being the same, it's going to cost more this year than last year. And you have to make up for it how you can. Now, if you don't have, investments that you can simply crank down and make them a little more productive, then you're going to have to work the opposite game, which is cut your overhead. It's the most important thing you can do is get rid of the frivolous spending, tighten your belt, and work on growing some assets, and then you can be, because believe me, when you're wealthy, this inflation stuff, we don't like it either, but it's a whole lot easier to make up the delta, by just making our assets a little more efficient, and sometimes that, or it might be just kind of, cutting the overhead on some of the assets to make them a little more productive. I don't like raising rents on my tenants. In fact, I hate it. And with the CPI being about 7 this year, I that are in the triple net leases that I have, I could raise rent 7%. And that's a lot. And not to mention, because the value's gone up, the pass through of the taxes, I pass that through to the tenants. But I'm not taking advantage of my tenants. I consider my tenants my partners, because really our success is shared. We get through these tough times, and so where I probably won't crank up the CPI or take advantage of the hike that I can put up on them One of the main reasons I don't move up along with the CPI this year on the tenants is that they're already going to get hurt because of what the government is doing to me. The local governments, meaning the tax authorities, raising, really unfairly raising the values of property values everywhere. And the reason I say that is, we have property shortages. There's not that many properties on the market. That's what's extrapolate, less than 1% of the market being for sale and the shortages, and then pass that on to the entire market. So, anyways, somebody wrote here, I'm trying to get my American passport. Hang on, let me pull over. I'll take a couple quick questions. I'm gonna grab a mimosa and a little breakfast this morning before I teach class. And so let me take a couple quick questions here. Trying to get my American passport takes 10 to 12 years. Within that period, I can legally buy real estate. Well, you can still legally buy real estate. You just need to get into a limited partnership. Limited partnership will be able to buy it, and you could be a partner within the partnership. Okay. No, they're trying to curb the inflation by pushing the rates up. And to be honest, the rates are so low. I mean, I'm telling you, even 5% for a house right now is not a lot. Listen, the price is already going to decrease a little bit. Consider this: interest rates are 2% higher on a home now than they were a month ago, or a month and a half ago, say. Well, that's $2,000 interest per 100,000. So it's easy to do the math very quick. Hey, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Liam. So anything you buy today that you didn't buy 2 months ago with a conventional mortgage is going to cost you $2,000 or more just in interest. So that's about $360 a month, right? Something like that. No, yeah. Anyhow, roughly, just call it, yeah, about $350 a month in interest more for on $200,000 at 2%, basically, $4,000. But so just take the math on there. If you buy something for 400,000, it's going to probably cost you $8,000 more a year in interest. So, but that's okay, because listen, if you invest like a good investor, you don't care about that shit, because really what you're buying based on the market value, and you always just, if the values go down, that's okay. You're still buying less than, at a price less than whatever the current market is. That's the secret to my success, okay? Is that right there? Just always buying under market. Hey, look, I got to go. I'll see you guys in class at 10. This was just a reminder for y'all in the class. Take care. Please like and subscribe.